Giving Pittsburgh a better alternative. Good afternoon. Welcome to a very special edition of the Pittsburgh Current Podcast. I'm Associate Publisher Bethany Ruhe. Welcome. As promised, we are doing our post-Super Bowl breakdown of the most important part of the Super Bowl, which is the ads. I'm a big fan of them. We are going to be discussing them, but first I want to thank our sponsor for today's podcast, Jazz HR. Struggling to hire? Headquartered in the heart of Pittsburgh, Jazz HR helps you find and hire more qualified candidates faster than ever. So if you are struggling to find good employees, please check out jazzhr.com. I'm going to introduce my special guests today. I've got two of them. I am joined by Steve Radick. Did I say that right?
You got it.
Okay, thanks. I've only known him for 10 years. Steve is this is a lot of letters, so bear with me. He's the SVP of PR at BCW in PGH.
You got it.
Did I get that right?
You got it.
Excellent, excellent. And also joining us today is Rob, a gentleman that we pulled off on the man off the street. Just going to come in here and talk to us.
I was just getting tacos.
Yeah, he was getting tacos. And I'm like, hey, you look like you have something to add to the conversation. Like, come on our podcast.
One of those man on the street interviews, very literally.
Yeah, but we couldn't take the podcast outside, although I wish we could have. It's gorgeous today.
It's beautiful outside.
So yeah, we just brought in a random stranger to talk about ads with us. So let's get to it because we have a lot to talk about. And drop any of your thoughts, comments, questions in the Facebook comments, and we'll get to them. We want to hear what you think too. Super Bowl, obviously the most expensive airtime ever, right? Brands, companies spend millions of dollars procuring the spot, getting their ads made, hiring talent. They put a lot into this, and some of them work, some of them don't. From your professional perspective, what was one of the early winners in your mind?
So there was, from a advertising perspective, the Super Bowl is an interesting space because it's, $5.6 million, I think, per 30 seconds, plus an additional few $1 million for production, marketing, and everything else around it because it's way more than an ad. And I've been in those shoes before, so I understand all of the things that go into it, and the timelines and the approvals and everything. So it's interesting to look at the commercials from this perspective, knowing all of those compromises that I'm sure they all made. So so it's tough to kind of say, well, that ad was terrible because you don't know what the limitations they were under. But I will say that just in watching them as a human with a little bit of that background, the Super Bowl started off on this wonderful foot with the NFL 100 spot with the very creative usage of both recorded video and the recorded story of the young boy who I read this morning's from Youngstown actually.
Oh, really?
And then running into the stadium. I thought it was just a great usage of both real-time content, if you will, and the video commercial.
So I started to think something was up when all of a sudden all the top 100 NFL players were somehow, I'm like, because first my brain was like, wow, they must have spent a lot of money to fly all these people in.
Right.
And then I'm like, oh wait, no, they didn't. This is just. Yeah, it's happening right now.
Yeah, I thought it was really, really well done and told a great story too. So I mean, it had all of the elements working for it. It's just started the night off on the right foot.
Yep.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The whole thing. It's long.
It's like 3 minutes long.
Yeah, it's like 3 minutes long.
Pick the best 10 seconds.
Yeah. Pick a clip, Jake. Our producer, our fabulous producer, Jake, the man behind the scene. That I like that one too because it also had elements of humor, which I'm a fan of humor in commercials. Like when he got there and they knocked the ball out of his hand, like "Welcome to the city, kid." I thought that was.
Well, and then the other side, they had the 180 with the Pat Tillman statue, which I thought was a nice, a nice moment there too.
There. Oh, hey, that was. Yeah. Who says football's not a violent sport? Actually, nobody says that. Yeah, that was definitely a standout of the night. Rob from the street, Taco Rob. What was one of your? I'm gonna call you Taco Rob.
Taco
now.
Rob. Man.
Into perpetuity. That's
it. Taco Rob. You're gonna get a tattoo of a taco. It'll be Taco Rob. What were some of the ones that stood out for you a little bit?
So I like the Post Malone.
The Post Malone.
That was really good. Right?
Yeah.
So everybody's got the little tattoos on the face.
Yeah.
and his delivery at the end, I thought, made the whole thing. Like,
Yeah.
he could have messed that up. But
Yeah, he was I've actually never really been a huge Post Malone fan before, but that kind of made me feel a little bit differently about him as a person, and also Bud Light Seltzer.
I mean, it's also words to live by, right? Like,
Yeah.
Oh, just fucking get both.
Yeah. Explicit tag.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Taco Rob, you can start.
I mean, Post Malone is he's delightfully self-aware, I think.
Yes.
And I think Bud Light leaned into that. And I would 100% watch the Inside Out sequel with Post Malone.
Yeah,
if
with his
if that's next on Disney Plus.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we need to make that happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? If you're listening, Disney, which I'm sure you are, there we go.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You're going to start the Kickstarter. Like,
Yeah, right. Just like his physical, the slapstick almost element of his physical comedy, I thought
Yeah.
was great too. He's clearly more than just a pretty face. So obviously, you get a lot of celebrities in these Super Bowl ads, right? There were some like the Bud Light that went, I think, well. And then I think there was one that did not go well. And we were talking about this a little bit before, the Procter Gamble
Yeah.
ad. Like,
This is an
what
abomination.
the hell were they thinking?
I felt like it was just too much of the reliance on they were trying to do too much of the engagement with the audience, and you pick the way it goes and which way it went, and not surprisingly, it ended up being a little all over the map and all over the place. And I was confused as a consumer of many of those brands, what they were trying to get me to understand. Was it that they were now kind of P&G was the one kind of stepping out front, which was great, and that's fine. But like I was trying to follow along with what was the message they were trying to convey. I
So
couldn't
what
get it.
I'm interested about, for this commercial is like how that gets approved.
Yeah.
Like at all the meetings where like key people absent, like you've been in those rooms.
Yeah.
It's just like, how does
Well,
this
I think
happen?
it's less about key people being absent and probably that with that many people being in the room.
Yeah,
So
and then you get
it's
groupthink.
less about not having enough and way more about having way too many people, and everyone's trying to figure out and clamoring for, well, I want my line in there, or I want my idea to come through, and there's compromises all over the map. And when the bigger brands you get, the more people are involved and the more compromises that have to be made. So that's the other reason why it's tough for me after living through a lot of those situations to say, well, this was bad, because you don't know, what those compromises are.
Right.
It's a really difficult situation.
But
to
I think
see.
you can still say this is bad, but I know why it might have been bad.
Right,
And I
yeah,
can kind of
and-
see what they were trying to do here. Right? You
Exactly.
can see kind of where the wheels came off. With
Right.
some
There
of
was
these,
just
I
too
think.
many celebrities in there, too many competing things. I felt the same way about there was the Heinz commercial,
Oh, yeah,
which
I
I
was
love
like-
Heinz
yeah, I do
and
too.
Pittsburgh brand, and I love all of that. But like having the 4 different stories that you were trying to tell with it was drawing my eye a little too much, and I was trying to better understand, or if it was a longer spot, if there was a 90-second or a 2-minute spot where I could dive a little bit more deeply into each one.
Yeah.
As it was, I was again confused by the intent and the message of what they were trying to do, rather than
Well, yeah, I mean, they
smashing it
kind of
all together.
lost me on that one, like, almost at the very beginning when it split into the four square. Because I mean, I immediately didn't know what to look at, or I just felt
looked
like
at my phone at that point.
yeah, right, exactly. We were scrolling, we were buying tacos. Yeah, like it was confusing from the beginning, and then they didn't do enough, I think, to pull you back in, to really get to the meat of the commercial.
Right. Well, and I was left wondering, what did I miss? Like, I almost wanted to like rewind and go back and find out, like, well, was there an individual story in each of the 4 boxes that I should have paid attention to, rather than just, the Heinz ketchup bottle in the middle? But that was the part I remembered. It was just the bottle, and maybe that was the point, was to just get me to remember that Heinz is the bottle.
Would you say you were trying to catch up?
I was trying to catch up. I was not trying to catch up.
Catch up.
Certainly not doing that. Yeah.
Oh, don't get me started on the the Adam Driver Heinz thing from SNL. That was hilarious. Go watch it if you haven't. So a couple that that stuck out to me. My early favorite, of course, as the game goes on, your favorites kind of come and go, right?
do change.
But my early favorite was the Rocket. Why can't I say that? Rocket Mortgage with Jason Momoa.
So I
just-
didn't see this one. I
Yeah, it
showed
was-
up late.
yeah.
Like, can we run some of that?
Yeah. Do you have that
right
one
now?
pulled up? Of
That's
course
the
he
one you
doesn't. I thought I had Rocket.
You
So
succeeded.
yeah, and what I also liked about that is his real life wife, Lisa Bonet,
Lisa, yeah.
was in there at the end. It was basically this whole conceit that like Wait, was that you that said every husband in the world's like, yeah, see, look, I told you that he's,
Right.
he's not really that good
See,
looking.
that's what he actually looks like.
Yeah, like it starts off with him coming in and he takes off his boots and he loses like 5 inches immediately. Like, okay, roll it.
Prepare to get creeped out.
Yeah, it's a little weird, but good.
Yeah,
So-
as you get
creeped
into
out
it.
already, right?
It's my sanctuary.
I will say,
The one place I can let my guard down.
Very good.
That's where I can just kick back and be totally comfortable in my own skin. You know what I'm saying? Rocket Mortgage understands that home is where I can be myself.
See, now it starts.
yeah,
Yeah, the creepiness
That
starts,
feels-
and
Yeah.
now it comes to
darn
its
good.
full conclusion.
it's full zenith.
Yeah. There it is.
There it
we go.
is.
All right.
Home is where you feel the most comfortable, and Rocket Mortgage helps
like
you
this
feel
one just
comfortable
fine.
financing that home with a personal.
Let me say, it was one of my early favorites. I will say overall,
Rocket
I was
Mortgage.
underwhelmed
Push
with this
button,
year's
get
offerings, but
mortgage.
we were talking before we started, that might just be a side effect of getting older and your expectations changing.
Well, and the cultural zeitgeist isn't aimed at us, and our age demographic any longer.
Oh,
So
God, that's depressing.
even
as hell.
I mean, I was embarrassed. I'm watching the halftime show, and I had to ask my 9-year-old, who was that guy that was with J-Lo that came
Bunny,
out? She's
yeah.
like,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
Bad Bunny, Dad. And I was
Yeah,
like,
Bad
well,
Bunny, yeah.
obviously, yeah, I knew that.
No, I agree. We had to Google that too. But yeah, I mean, I think that maybe we are maybe not their target demographic anymore. But like I said, that's sad. Actually, speaking of commercials, I'm going to segue into a read.
There you go.
How about that? The roast master Jeff Ross and comedian Dave Attell team up to bring their live show to the Carnegie of Homestead Music Hall on Friday, April 18th. They bring their Netflix series Bumping Mics with Jeff Ross and Dave Attell live to Pittsburgh. Tickets are on sale now. You could go to www.librarymusichall.com to get your tickets. Again, that's for roastmaster Jeff Ross and comedian Dave Attell, neither of whom were in a Super Bowl commercial.
But that's like the Library Music Hall Super Bowl in small print recap
Exactly, yeah.
commercial. So that's their Super Bowl recap commercial.
Technically, that was a Super Bowl commercial because it's on our
Yes.
Super Bowl podcast. So there you go. Also, Jake, is your trophy on screen at all?
You got to get that.
Can
on
you
screen.
pan to it? Jake made this. How old
That
were
is
you?
exception- Should I just
Yeah,
pick it up?
Yeah. Hold it up, Rob. There you go. Tucker Rob.
raise the trophy.
Raise the trophy.
Look
Yeah.
at that.
Jake made that in what, 4th grade? See, so we even decorate the set for
Is
our
that-
Super
is
Bowl
that
show.
paper mache or what's the?
Look.
It's not centered. It says Vince.
Give him a break. He was a
gotta-
youngin. He was a youngin.
In case you weren't sure what it is.
Yeah. So there you go. Wait.
This is excellent work.
Yeah, put
There you go.
There you go. So what was one that stood out to you in terms of you felt like they did the best with their budget, right? Because obviously they're spending millions and millions of dollars. Like, which one do you think
I
got
mean,
the most bang
per
for the buck?
dollar per dollar is probably Edgar Snyder. They spent about 10 cents on that.
Edgar Schneider. Their phone number is still the same from before we even had area codes.
Yeah.
It cracked me up. Yeah, no, I agree. Although I don't think he was like on the national ad buy.
No, he wasn't, but I don't care.
But
I
he
mean,
should have been.
It was.
Yeah, he should have been. He's a
I
goddamn
don't think he
treasure.
was. I like how you weren't sure if
Yeah.
Edgar Snyder made the national ad buy or not.
He
Just
won't-
covering your
He'll get
bases.
money for you wherever you are. Yeah. So who do you think did good with the budget?
I mean, in terms of the, let's see, in terms of the budget. So I liked the Google Loretta ad, and they spent probably a lot in terms of just the amount of time. But I mean, I read that it wasn't a real actor, that it was a real employee,
Oh, wow.
and his or her grandfather, and it was a real story,
Oh, wow.
and it was his real voice, and so there was an authenticity to that, and obviously it tugged at the heartstrings, and my wife was crying at it, and everyone knows or has had an experience with
Yeah.
Alzheimer's like that. So I thought it was just an overall really strong ad for any number of reasons.
Yeah. No, I felt like that was definitely to me the most emotionally elicited in me more emotions than any of the other ones.
Yeah.
Right? Like and we had talked about this before too. It actually showed like a product and how a product works. Like it was not just a great emotional commercial. It was actually very informative, right? I mean, it did the job.
That's the really strong strike zone that I always look for when I'm watching the Super Bowl commercials is how do they tie in something going on with the cultural zeitgeist? How do they tie in some sort of product? How do they tie in and make that product align with whatever their spot is doing? And then also, what's the interesting insight about it? So like the Cheetos one was another great one. They're launching popcorn. They had MC Hammer there, which brought it up to that Super Bowl level, and they had that insight of like when you got that cheese dust on your fingers, you don't really want to touch anything else.
Yeah.
So like I thought they married all of those functions pretty well there.
They did, but I think that commercial was about, I don't know, 2 minutes too long.
They went like 1 or 2 extra over what they probably could have done to still get the
Right.
They were probably like, we're paying MC Hammer X amount of dollars.
I mean, there's overhead in getting him on site.
Yeah.
You gotta get your shots, right?
I just, like I said, I was such a nerd. I was actually taking notes last night while we were watching the Super Bowl, and in my notes on this commercial, I actually said I really hope that those Hammer pants come back. I really do.
Because you already own a pair, or you want to buy a pair?
She still owns a pair.
Yeah, I might have them in my car in case anybody wants to see them. No, I just, it was neat. But do you think that when you go that far, like when you reach back that far for a celebrity, like that you're missing out on people that might not know culturally who MC Hammer is?
Yeah, I mean, what was the one? There was another one, and I'll find it that used some older celebrities that I was wondering if anyone really got it. And I will think of it.
Well, even one of my
even
favorites.
Groundhog Day.
Yeah, I was just going to say the Jeep
the
commercial.
Jeep one.
Like if I mean that movie came out how long ago? Can we Google that?
30 years, 40 years
quite
ago?
some time.
Quite some time ago. It's no, I get it because it was actually on Groundhog Day, right? So that was a nice little tie-in.
But when you tie the brand to the celebrity, you've got to make sure they have the wide appeal. Like Post Malone's got the wide appeal. MC Hammer's might be stretching it a little bit. I like the Chrissy Teigen John Legend spot, but only because I know Chrissy Teigen and John Legend, and I know the relationship. I follow them on Twitter, and so that's fun. But if you don't know the two of them, then that spot falls flat for you.
Right.
So you've got to that's the risks that.
And
these
I
brands
do
are
feel like
taking.
that's something Cheeto did. Like even if you didn't know who MC Hammer was, you still got the commercial right. Like you didn't need to know who MC
it
Hammer
wasn't
was.
entirely reliant on him.
Right, exactly. Whereas I feel like the Jeep one, like
it's reliant on Bill Murray. I mean, if it's Hey Kids, look, it's Bill Murray. I think it still works.
Do you really?
I don't know. I like Bill Murray.
I mean, I love Bill Murray. I think he's great. I mean, I'm ready to go buy a Jeep right now. I'll be honest with you. There we go.
Yeah.
And it was hilarious
There's a lot
too.
of Pittsburgh connections here.
Yeah.
With these spots. We talked about the kid from Youngstown. Bill Murray, or Groundhog Day. He was a Pittsburgh meteorologist. There was the Heinz was Pittsburgh. There's a lot of.
Pittsburgh was all over the place, everywhere but the actual game.
Next year. Next year we got it.
Next year's our year.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm trying to look at my notes to see which ones. Planners. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Oh,
because
man.
this Planners one was so pre-hyped, right? Like they killed Mr. Peanut.
Yeah.
And at first I was like, look at that adorable baby Peanut, because I'm like, oh, like the Baby Yoda thing. And then it was hashtag Baby Nut.
Yeah.
I mean, do we have to say asterisk explicit language again?
Yeah, seriously. Hashtag it's bad if you have to explicit tag when you're just referencing a Planners.
Right.
Peanut
I'm not
commercial.
sure if I do or not. I just don't want to say it.
I literally put Baby Nut as a terrible hashtag.
Yeah.
Like, that was my notes. Like, this is who? Okay, like I understand thought processes.
There you go. This is that's now it's worse.
I mean, my overall is there's a lot of internal strife that I have to imagine is taking place between trying to create something for a TV spot, for watching on the big screen, but then there's also the discussion of what do we do that is created on the big screen that can be translated to the phone, that can be shareable, that can be. And that's why you see a lot of these brands doing, GIFs with their Baby Nut was live streamed afterward, and then there were GIFs that they had prepared. So there's that element too, and so there's always that, like, who wins out? Like, does social win out? Does the strategist win out? Does the creative director win out? And how do you marry these things together? Because that's the discussion you have to have about these things.
Yeah, well, they decided to marry it with hashtag Baby Nut, which is an interesting choice. So that's like, I mean, I didn't follow any of the live streams or anything like that. Like, I just watched the Super Bowl and then I was done with it. But I mean, to your point, a lot of these, sometimes a commercial is just the prelude, right? And there's all these after things that they're hoping that you're gonna
Yeah.
that
Like
you're gonna-
Olay had their whole social campaign afterward that if you tweeted the hashtag a certain amount, they'll donate $500,000 or up to $500,000 to Girls Who Code.
Right.
Yeah.
So that you had that element, and that takes a whole lot of work to develop too. So you've got the spot, you've got all this creative production on the social side of things. There's a lot of competing.
They had to get Busy
interests.
Phillips into space. That couldn't have been cheap.
Yeah. Which I love this spot, and then at the end, the big conversation around that was at the end they kind of devalued it with the whole, well, what does this button do? Like you've just kind of portrayed these strong, powerful women in space, and
now you're treating them like derpy.
right, and then you're like, oh, what is this? Fun, but I don't know how that marries with the rest of the message.
Well, speaking of female empowerment, we'll go back to one that was actually right before the Super Bowl, which is the secret spot.
Oh, the Katie
About
Sowers.
about the two female football players when they took their helmets off. And it was, yeah. And another person that was here before, we had a whole party before this podcast that you guys weren't invited to, but he made the interesting observation that like if it's a guy football player, he takes his helmet off, they're like sweaty and gross and whatever, and these females took it off and they were like pristine. Like I mean that whole spot, I felt like they were trying to do a good thing and go to a good place. I don't know if it worked.
Yeah, I would agree. I think I was confused. I like the Carly Lloyd thing. I just love Carly Lloyd in general. The Morgan Dunn there with her. I was trying to kind of piece together why Morgan was there with her too. Like I get the Carly because she was the kicker, and that she's been doing that, and that's something that's hot. And you saw in the NFL 100 spot, she was in that too. I thought that one was a little bit more authentically done than the secret one, just because it felt a little bit forced.
It did. I mean, like I said, but I appreciate it. Obviously, I'm all about pushing for equality whenever possible. But yeah, I don't know if I loved that spot. What was another one that you loved, Rob? Taco Rob, what's another one you loved, or even just mildly liked, or didn't hate?
Mildly like.
So I guess there was the Lil Nas X Sam Elliott spot, which I thought was mostly good.
Yeah, mostly good.
Well, it was mostly excellent, right?
Yeah.
And there were a couple little things I didn't like too much about. Like I could take or leave the whole mustache thing.
Yeah.
But I thought this was a good spot.
Yeah.
That's your gifable moment.
Yeah.
That's
I know,
why
right?
That's why
they
you have
did
that,
it.
right?
Yeah, like right there. There's
Right
people.
there.
Yeah, and I just think Lil Nas X is just so likable and charismatic. I think he was.
Yeah.
I think this was. I like him actually paired with Sam Elliott. I felt like that was a very, very inspired choice of casting.
They had Sam give up a little too quick though.
Yeah.
Right? He's just like,
Yeah, my horse won't do that.
explicit warning. Fuck this. Right? Like, I'm not gonna like.
My horse isn't down. So.
My horse my horse don't do that. Right.
See, I want to see the behind the scenes where they tried to get Sam Elliott to actually do all of those dances.
Yeah, right.
and see Sam's real reaction to, or his agent's reaction to, oh, you're gonna have to CGI that.
Yeah, exactly.
But
Yeah, like Sam don't move like that.
Mr.
No more.
Elliott
Yeah,
does
yeah.
not do splits.
No, I enjoyed that one too. I felt like that one was just very fun, and Doritos always I think consistently does a good job with their Super Bowl
like
ads.
the stereotypical
They're one of the top
like
5.
Yeah.
Always, right.
fun Super Bowl ad. Like
Yeah.
we grew up that would be something that could play just as easily 10, 15 years ago before the
So it would have been
social
Jay
issues.
Leno or whatever, right?
Right.
Or was that 40 years ago? I don't know.
Oh my God, Jay Leno. That's right. He wasn't.
He
Oh my
was.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's taste buds, kids.
Yeah.
Whatever that line was.
The Reese's Take
Reese's Take
5.
Five.
That I do feel like that. They buried some of the really good ones. Like I feel like towards the end, I think that was one of them. But yeah, are you playing that now?
What were you born
This one,
yesterday? Raised by wolves?
I like it when they had the literal head up the ass.
Head in the sand?
Yeah, Trish.
You
So
from another planet?
what I liked about this one, it's cute and I liked all of the cliches.
Reese's Take 5.
There's a gift right there.
What I like about that one is that they really went and embraced that insight, the strategic insight, which is that candy bar has been around for years.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone, how many people what portion of the audience recognizes that,
Yeah.
or thought it was a brand new candy bar they were launching. But that was the whole shtick, was that we've had it out for years and no one is eating this, even though it's delicious. And so they really committed hard to that.
I like that one. I'm trying to think. What else? What were the top? You have the ad meter up, right? What were
I
the
do.
top 5?
So the
Just
top
list them
5,
out.
and this is according to USA Today. There are many ad meters, but this is just the default one that's been around the longest. Jeep's Groundhog Day with Bill Murray. the Hyundai Smart Park, which I also thought was excellently done.
Yes.
And they played the teaser really well because that
Yes.
came out not too far ahead of time, but also not too close. And I thought they played that really well. And that, again, featured the product,
Yes.
tied the product into the story really well, and seemed pretty authentic. Google Loretta was number 3. Doritos and Lil Nas X was number 4. And then Rocket Mortgage, Jason Momoa is number 5. So you nailed we've nailed the top 5.
Look how good we are.
Yeah,
We
next
should-
next
we should
100
we should
was
do a podcast.
the 6th.
Hold on, I'm just checking Facebook to see if any. Remember, you guys could drop your comments,
Oh, yeah.
thoughts, questions. Just checking to see. I don't know if anybody's over there is monitoring. Jake's really busy pulling up commercials. Nobody.
Not
Charlie Deej.
not
Oh,
one.
thanks for watching, Charlie. He's sitting right
You
right
wanna
there.
drop a
He's,
comment
yeah,
on
he's
it, just so
waving.
there's something there.
The thing I was telling you earlier was I think movie trailers make for a natural fit on the Super Bowl as well. I think it's a new spot. You can show ROI a little bit more closely. Did we get people to the
to go to the
theater?
movie, yeah.
And so I think it makes for a natural extension of that. They're not Super Bowl commercials in the traditional sense. But from a cost effectiveness standpoint, you're already producing a trailer. Now you're just really buying the ad time. So you're saving on all of that creative production. So I feel like movie trailers work.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I didn't know that Fast and Furious was up to 9. Apparently, I've missed a couple.
9.
Yeah, I was like 9. Holy crap! That's like damn. I think we can all agree that Daniel Craig is the best James Bond, right?
He was
I mean,
very good, and
yeah.
I will definitely watch that movie.
Yeah, I'm excited for that one. Obviously a lot of cars, right? Let's talk about the Porsche
They have
commercial.
electric cars now? Who knew? I
electric
never would have
car,
known.
yeah.
Electric Hummer.
The electric Hummer. Although that was news for the people in my
Yeah.
house watching it. A lot of people didn't know that they were coming out with an electric Hummer, so that was kind of like a wow. The Porsche commercial. I really like the Porsche commercial. I like that whole conceit, and I thought they did a really good job of, again, showing off what their product actually does. Not that I'm advocating for anybody to drive like that.
It's a car, right?
Yes,
It is.
yes, cars drive.
So, yeah.
Well, and disclaimer, I used to work at the agency that produced that spot, but I loved it. I really, and I liked it because, yes, it showed off the car and that they're actually promoting, but they also did a nod to the brand as an overall historic thing because all of the other cars were Porsches too. So I thought they were able to marry together brand and the new product. And the thing I really liked the most, and I said this on Twitter last night, was they absolutely nailed the music too. The music that goes with that, the "Let's Go" theme, just fit perfectly with everything on that.
How about another one that probably didn't work as well as they hoped, the Sabra hummus.
Oh goodness.
That
yeah.
ad.
Yeah.
I mean, I love Cardi B and anything that she's in, I'm drawn to. But that was a lot. There was a lot going on.
There was a lot. My biggest problem. I'm not mussing. No one's mussing
Yeah.
or whatever that hashtag is that they're trying to make us say.
I don't.
I mean, hummus isn't that hard. I've never heard anyone call it anything other than
Yeah.
hummus.
Yeah, there
Yes.
we go.
Yeah.
I must celery.
I must pretzels.
I must.
Okay, boomer.
Oh, Lord.
So these are the influencers that ostensibly were thrown into the pit of Snickers.
Yeah. Oh
after
Lord.
after they filmed this spot, I think that's
Yeah.
what they did.
Yeah. That Snickers ad was. What was that? What?
And the winner
Shall we
is
see this one?
Yeah.
The-
What?
So they felt the world needed a Snickers because
I mean,
basically
after this,
everything
we
is
probably
going to
did.
hell. And so
Yeah.
they dug a huge hole and threw a massive Snickers into it.
Maybe it's not a coincidence, and I believe the Trump campaign ad was right after that one. Pew, blow it all up.
Well, yeah, and those ads did not do well. The Trump and Bloomberg ads did not do well on the ad meter.
But Mike Bloomberg beat out Pop-Tarts.
It did,
right?
yeah. Somehow Pop-Tarts
the
found
bottom-
itself right in
the bottom
between.
three. Could you
In the
imagine-
hot seat between Trump and Michael Bloomberg.
Can you imagine being
is
the
a
team
pretzel
that did that
Pop-Tart.
Pop-Tart ad and waking up this morning like, Jesus.
Are we gonna see this one?
Are you doing the
Are you
Pop-Tarts?
showing-
Oh, the
Oh, the
Snickers.
Snickers.
Yeah. To me, the Snickers
Giant
one just
Snickers.
did
Just play the
not.
end of the Snickers is the best part.
It just did not make sense.
I see.
Yeah. Oh, I hate it even more today.
Well,
Oh, God.
Yay.
wait.
Maybe
Wait,
the
keep
world just
playing it.
needs a Snickers.
The Snickers hole. It's working.
Okay, now I like it.
No, that I like.
So there's a lot of parts like that though that I was watching, and then I'm thinking in the back of my head that starts begging a lot of unanswered questions, like wait, did Snickers advocating killing influencers? And then I started thinking about the other the baby nut ad again, and I started going back to like, wait, every time that the Kool-Aid man cries, is he spawning other children? Like, and so you just start asking yourself all of these other questions that you don't want answers to.
Does the whole exist in the same universe as the like, you know, productive tears of the Kool-Aid man?
It's all part of one Super Bowl multiverse.
You guys are getting really, really out there.
Bring us back. Bring us back on.
Let's talk about Hulu. My note next to the Hulu commercial was F Tom Brady. So literally, that's what that says right there.
The collective feeling of Pittsburghers around the world.
Do you think I don't think it's Pittsburghers. Like, I know a lot of people that aren't from Pittsburgh that don't like Tom Brady. I mean, do you think there's a risk when you... I mean, obviously he's a huge name, but he's a very polarizing figure. Like, do you think as a brand you take a risk, putting that person on your commercial, in your commercial?
Yeah, I mean, any one of the commercials who used a celebrity, I think, took that same risk, and it's a very calculated risk. I think Tom's probably safer than most because you know what you're getting out of him. He's done this for 30 years now. You know exactly what you're getting out of him. Yes, he is polarizing, but I don't think he's as polarizing to the general public. I think the football public, he's certainly polarizing, but I think he's just kind of milquetoast at this point. Like, it's Tom Brady, and it's the safe route, you know.
Speaking of Tom Brady, he's not going to be reading this commercial, but I am. Did you like that segue?
No, not at all.
Smooth as silk. Again, we want to thank our sponsor, Jazz HR. Struggling to hire? Headquartered in the heart of Pittsburgh, Jazz HR helps you find and hire more qualified candidates faster than ever. With plans starting as low as $39 a month and including best-in-class recruitment tools like interview, self-scheduling, and candidate texting, Jazz HR is the easiest and most affordable solution to finding your next great hire. Post your job for free today at jazzhr.com. That is jazzhr.com.
I wonder if the Patriots are going to be posting a
quarterback.
A quarterback, looking for a quarterback.
Well, apparently, like, Vegas odds like have Steelers as one of the number one places he could theoretically end up.
I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm out on that one.
I don't know. My boyfriend's like, hell yeah, Tom Brady. That's how we're gonna get to the Super Bowl next year.
Bring Ben back. I think we'll be fine.
Yeah, Ben. Notice nobody's asked him to be in a commercial of any sort.
No.
So another one where you're relying on somebody to help you sell your product that I felt kind of went awry was the avocado commercial, because I did not know that was Molly Ringwald until they said it like on the screen that it came with a free Molly Ringwald. I
had no that I think that might have been the one I was referring to in terms of using older celebrities that this generation isn't gonna get.
Well, apparently we didn't get it either.
Yeah, we didn't get it either. And I grew up watching her movies. I literally did not know that's who that was.
Isn't weird. Take it away, Molly.
Yeah.
Your avocado isn't getting
So
I didn't even
could
see
just be
Molly. I
any
still.
Molly.
Yeah, I think she was just kind of Molly, the infomercial woman.
Always in season he is.
I want one of those. Are you kidding?
I mean, now that I know it's her, I can see that it's her, but watch it at the beginning.
Now, avocado, they did do some interesting stuff on social where they were like chiming in and doing the whole brand on brand talking, like with the I think they had a little baby like Porsche or something with after the Porsche commercial that the avocado was riding in, and they were doing other things with other brands in social, which I thought was interesting. But at this point, like, that's expected. Again, you do a Super Bowl commercial, you better be prepared to talk to every other brand, because now you're part of this multiverse of brands and Super Bowls.
Yeah, like, I mean, I saw like Tide and Bud Light did a lot of crossover stuff, which I liked. Well,
now you got to cue one up. Just,
yeah.
Just tell us the part
I
you
like
hated
Charlie
the most,
Day
Jake.
and I like the chick from Schitt's Creek, but like I didn't understand why they were together. Like, are they in a show that I don't know about, or?
Charlie Day is another one of those that, like, whatever he's in, like, I feel like he skews so high on like the Q score.
Yeah.
Like, everyone loves Charlie Day, everyone loves John Legend. That's one of those things where it's like really safe to go with something like that.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I like the Genesis. I didn't even know that was a car brand. Just looking through my notes here.
That was a lot of feedback that I was seeing was that, like, who makes that? What is the Genesis?
I had no idea. And so we were just in Arizona for the Steeler game, and apparently the people we were staying with drove a Genesis, and I still had no idea.
Oh.
That's how observant I am. What about the Coke Energy commercial with Martin Scorsese and Jonah Hill?
Oh, So I was confused by where they were going with Jonah Hill and Martin Scorsese. Like, is there a connection with the two of them that I wasn't aware of?
I don't know. I thought it was weird too. Like, why would they be going to a party together?
Right. Like, I know Scorsese and like, Leonardo DiCaprio, they're, very close, and they have that whole thing. I wasn't sure of the connection between Jonah Hill and Scorsese. But other than that, I mean, it made sense, what they were trying to do.
Yeah.
But why is he like there's...
and he clearly looks
close enough
tired.
that they're texting.
Yeah. Well, and I do like the bubble thing too. I think that's something a lot of people can relate to. You could see like somebody's texting you back, and then the text doesn't come through, and you're like,
unless you're an Android user and you don't have the bubbles.
who does that? Who does that? I'm trying to think. I mean, I guess I don't really know if any others really stood out to me. Any other standouts that we haven't touched on yet?
No.
So I really like the Alexa one that with Ellen and Portia.
Oh, see, actually, I missed that one. I was in the kitchen, and I did not go back to watch it.
I liked it because it was cute, but it also it tied in the product features of like you understood like more of what it could do. The product could do for you.
Here we are.
What do you think people did
Have you actually seen this?
No, I haven't seen this one yet, so I'm actually watching
Alexa, turn the temperature down 2 degrees.
it. This is it. Okay, that's.
Thank you, dear.
Alexa.
All right.
Oh, I get it now. At first, okay,
Jokes.
Alexa, got it.
God, you think I know loads?
Yeah,
look
I
at
mean,
me.
Next.
News. Get your news here.
you like this one? You thought it did good?
I liked again back to it's bringing in cultural thing because this kid talks about fake news. It's bringing in it's using Ellen and Portia together, which by itself is a statement that Amazon is making by having them both in here and showing them together.
Right.
It's showcasing a lot of their product features that you may not know about. I mean,
Right.
these things have become pretty ubiquitous, whichever ones you use, these voice assisted speakers, but the vast majority of people use it to basically just as a kitchen timer and to play music. So giving them that additional ability to understand what these things can do, I thought
You could
was
summon a
good
dragon.
use.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I use that one all the time.
Alexa, bring me a dragon.
I threaten my 6-year-olds by using Alexa to summon a dragon to take them away.
There you go. Parenting
Play my
101.
favorite song.
All right, that was cute. I like that one. I did not get to see that one originally.
What other ones did work? The Michelob Ultra, the pure gold one with the 6-pack for 6 square feet.
Yes.
I thought was a really good usage of kind of using and supporting a cause and promoting their new beer.
Yeah.
But then I read on Ad Age, I think it was Ad Age, someone had tweeted that great. But, the average American farm is something like 444 acres.
Yeah.
And so it would take every American to buy a 6-pack every day for the next, 54 years to turn one American farm organic.
Right.
So it was just one of those things where you're like, oh, okay.
It sounds good.
It sounded good until you realize, oh, wait a second.
Well, we were confused watching that one.
Yeah.
We were like, what are we
Yeah, what do we
supporting
want?
exactly?
Yeah.
What are we doing here?
Right.
And we figured it out eventually, but
Yeah, it was not very
Made you work
clearly
for it.
communicated. Yeah. And they had a great ad last year with the Zoe Kravitz doing the ASMR. I think that was Michelob Ultra
Okay,
last year.
your
at the
definition
Super Bowl.
of great is very different than mine.
I liked it.
I didn't get the humming. I mean, I get that the ASMR is a thing.
It's a thing. It's a huge thing. Google it.
woohoo!
They like the Edgar Schneider. Edgar Schneider's got some stands out there. How do you not love Edgar
Locally,
Schneider?
UPMC had spots too.
They had a
They
few
were all over
spots.
the place.
they
Yeah.
did know what to do.
Because
Love it.
we were wondering if that was national or not. Like we couldn't figure it out.
I thought it was until I saw the UPMC, and then I was like, oh, okay, they did the local, but I thought it was like really well done to do a new spot during the Super Bowl, even for a local.
Yeah, and I think they had a couple like variations on that theme, right? Which was being prepared in case of an emergency.
Yeah.
So I thought they did
It's
a
a
really
good
good
message.
job. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's gonna be hard to beat Edgar Schneider. I think overall.
It is always hard to beat Edgar Schneider.
I
right?
wish that they
mean,
would have put Edgar Schneider in the Jeep Groundhog Day commercial. To me, that would have been
excellent.
a
See,
winner.
I didn't hear anything this year. I remember a few years ago, Will Ferrell did that random like Midwestern spot that only showed in like North Dakota.
No.
I didn't see anything this year of some big brand or celebrity doing just a local thing. But yeah,
Yeah.
Will Ferrell was in a spot like I forget what it was. I don't even want to guess, some brand that they only paid to run it in like North and South Dakota. And it was
so 10 people saw it.
Yeah.
Just in the not very populated states. That's all I'm saying. So yeah, I mean, like I said, I would still give this year overall a low, like maybe like a C+ overall grade. No,
yeah, I mean, I'd give probably most years a C+. I mean, I feel like you're always going to have some that go well, some that don't, some that disappoint. You know, the biggest thing that I look for as someone who's been in the industry is, did you take advantage of it being the only time of year where really that many people were watching live?
Yeah.
And no one's fast forwarding and everyone's watching it. Did you take appropriate advantage of that time? Well,
and there were some brands that have been pretty consistent advertisers that opted to not advertise this year. Be it some of them were spending their money elsewhere.
So
doing
who did you miss the most?
Well, I really didn't miss anybody. If that tells you anything.
Your night was ruined.
Yeah, I was like, oh God, where's Zales? I don't Zales. Like what's? Very well known Zales for the Super Bowl commercials. Dear God, but no, I mean, I don't. I mean, Doritos was there. Oh, did Pepsi do a commercial?
Pepsi
yes,
did.
they did.
Did they? Which one was?
They did the one with Missy Elliott, right?
Yeah, Missy Elliott.
Oh, that's right.
And the Paint It Black.
That's right. That's
which
right.
I'm sure wasn't cheap. To pay for that.
Licensing a Rolling Stones song.
And, so.
And who else? There was another. Who else was in that one? There was somebody else with her. Was it there? Oh, shoot, I can't
forget
remember
who it was. Missy was the one I remembered.
Yeah, I love Missy Elliott. I just bought tickets to go see her live.
What?
In New York. She's at Governor's Ball.
So?
Yeah. Missy Elliott, Miley Cyrus, Stevie Nicks. So
excited.
Her. That's who it was. Her. And her crushed it at the Grammys,
I saw her on
too.
the Grammys.
Yeah, she crushed it on the Grammys. I actually loved her Grammy performance.
I mean, kudos for using a dope song, but...
Yeah. It's a great commercial, but is it a great Pepsi commercial, right? Like...
I mean, Pepsi's always gone all in on the music and has really embraced that. So, I mean, that makes sense. But, I mean, the bigger thing, the thing I thought was interesting was the alternative drinks that, the Pepsis and Cokes of the world are, such huge conglomerates that own so many different drinks that they both are advertising. Yes, this is a slight variation on the Pepsi no sugar, but you would have thought that they would go into one of their non-carbonated healthier drinks in their portfolio, and using the Super Bowl for that rather than calling attention to Pepsi and Coke, which everyone knows about. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Are you going to try Bud Light Seltzer? Round table? Yes. No.
No. my little post Malones are debating it right now. Mine have no face tattoos.
Yes.
No, I mean I'll try it. I've tried the Trulies and the whatever the White Claws of the world. I mean, can you have that much taste variation in a seltzer?
I will say that was probably the one commercial where that's a product that I probably wouldn't have cared to try, like, or go out of my way to try, but because I like that commercial so much, I'm going to try it.
I like that they leaned in.
It was effective in that regard.
Very good.
I like that they leaned in that cognitive dissonance that exists, that has to exist among Bud Light beer drinkers.
Yeah.
You think your typical Bud Light beer drinker is not typically going to go for a seltzer.
Yeah.
But they kind of played with that, and like Post Malone's mind is having that same problem that you are.
Well, and if you saw the commercial they did before that, which was the Seltzer PA commercial that I was referencing, they actually acknowledged that in a way. The actor says, if you love Bud Light, you'll love Bud Light Seltzer. If you don't love Bud Light, this is not Bud Light.
Right.
Like, it's nothing like it. So, I feel like they kind of acknowledge
everyone.
that. Yeah, it's for everyone.
Yeah.
So before we wrap up, because I do have to get my kid from school, halftime show.
Yeah.
Right? We like we were a house divided. Who won halftime? Not that it was a competition, but there was two women on stage, so obviously somebody has to win. Shakira or J-Lo? Who won for you?
I thought Shakira did great.
Yeah.
I thought the Jennifer Lopez was. I felt like I heard all of those songs on Sirius XM Fly yesterday anyway. So Shakira had new stuff that I hadn't always heard. Although I wanted her to play the Zootopia song, as did my kids.
I just liked how every time the camera cut away from her cut back, she'd lost another piece of clothing. I was like, if they keep doing this, she's gonna be booty butt naked dancing on that stage.
It didn't happen though.
A lot of people had issues. A lot of people had issues with that.
I mean, I don't have an issue with that. I mean, she's
I didn't. I explained to my kid. I was like, when you make $70 billion and you could dress however you want.
Yeah. I mean, bitch is 43 years old. Come on, and J-Lo's 50. foxy middle-aged women. It's a thing. And I'm here for it. Like, literally, I'm here for it. This is my demographic. So, overall, I thought it was a good halftime show.
I thought it was good. I mean, they definitely leaned into the Miami audience.
Yes.
They had a lot of Hispanic performers, a lot of music, which I thought was great, and I really liked a lot of what they did. It was a good show overall. And side note, did you see A-Rod tweeting and live streaming during it?
I did not.
He was having the best time. He was having the best time down there dancing and everything while J-Lo was
they
up.
did a cute commercial too. What was their commercial for?
With DJ Khaled.
DJ Khaled, yeah.
Who really should think about promoting himself more. You know, I don't know if enough people see him.
Because all he does is win. Well, this has been great. Like, I could literally talk about this stuff all day. As could you.
Same, yeah.
Your tacos are cold by now, so you might as well hang out too.
Yeah, it's I don't know. You made me pay.
Thank you guys both for being here and being a part of this. Again, I want to thank our sponsor, Jazz HR. If you're looking to hire, go to jazzhr.com. They'll hook you up. That's not my written notes. I just kind of winged that one. Thank you to Steve. Thank you to Rob, who's actually a fantastic person and not somebody that we found on the street.
I can be two things.
You can, yes, they're not mutually exclusive, right? Yeah.
He does love tacos. That part
that is true. That is highly true. Yeah. Thank you to Jake back there behind the camera for doing such a great job. Thank you to Charlie for texting me to remind me to read our commercials. And thank you guys for watching. We'll definitely have to get you back for the next big culturally important TV thing, and
I'm all over
we'll jam this out. All right, awesome. Well, thanks, guys. Thanks for tuning in. And I don't know who's going to be on Thursday at 10 with Charlie, but as soon as we find out. Oh, wait, do we know? No? Oh, is Emily coming back? We'll figure it out. I'll let you know. So stay posted. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Giving Pittsburgh a better alternative.